we will be reviewing Call of Duty Black Ops 2. In this sequel to the original, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 dives into the story of Alex Mason's son, David Mason, who is a U.S. Navy SEAL commander in year 2025. David sets out and fights to take out Raul Menendez, a violent Nicaraguan narco-terrorist, and his ruthless, powerful organization. Although while trying to take out Menendez, David and his partner, Mike Harper, arrive at the Vault, a top security location home to an aging Frank Woods, whom they suspect possess vital information on the whereabouts of Raul Menendez. Woods concedes that Menendez has recently visited him, and shows them a locket that the latter had left behind. Frank then narrates several covert missions undertaken during his military career which span their previous encounters. According to Woods, by 1986 Alex Mason had effectively retired from active duty to pursue an obscure existence in Alaska with his son, the 7-year-old David. Their shaky relationship is strained further when Mason is solicited by his former handler Jason Hudson, seeking to recruit him for an assignment in Cuando Cubango during the height of the Angolan Civil and South African border wars. Woods had disappeared with his men while aiding Jonas Savimbi's UNITA rebels against Angola's Marxist government. Their actions have already been disavowed by the CIA, and Hudson hopes to rescue any survivors. With UNITA's assistance, Mason and Hudson recover Woods from the Cubango, subsequently locating Menendez among a contingent of Cuban military advisors. However, a firefight breaks out, and their quarry escapes as the Americans are rescued by helicopter. It is revealed that Menendez is responsible for holding Woods captive after murdering his team. In light of this information, Mason, Woods, and Hudson begin tracking Menendez, who has established himself as a primary arms dealer for Bush conflicts in southern Africa and Latin America. Later in the year, the CIA authorizes a strike against the unscrupulous Nicaraguan, now making a healthy profit running arms across Soviet-occupied Afghanistan. The trio and Chinese operative Tian Zhao ally with the Afghan Mujahideen against the Soviets. They locate Lev Kravchenko, who survived the grenade explosion in Vietnam with Woods, and interrogate him about Menendez's plans before executing him. The Mujahideen then betray the Americans and Zhao, leaving them to die in the Afghan wilderness until their rescue by two unidentified civilians, one of which Alex Mason presumes to be Viktor Reznov. At this point, Menendez's motive for his seemingly senseless vendetta against the West become clear. His sister Josefina was grievously injured in an act of arson committed by American businessmen for insurance money. The Menendez clan, which dominates a powerful drug cartel, was again rocked by loss when the CIA sanctions the assassination of Raul's father. An embittered Menendez now considers the conflict to be personal, but his one-man struggle against the West is interrupted when Mason, Woods, Hudson, and local security forces raid his headquarters in Nicaragua. During the chaos, an enraged Woods inadvertently kills Josefina with a grenade. Faking his demise with the assistance of Panamanian dictator Manuel Noriega, Menendez lives to retaliate against those he holds personally responsible for his sister's death. During the 1989 invasion of Panama, he kidnaps Hudson and David, using them as bait for a trap. He then uses Hudson to mislead Woods, manipulating him into shooting and possibly killing Mason instead of himself. Depending on the player's actions during Kravchenko's interrogation, it is implied that Menendez had used moles within the CIA. In the ensuing chaos, Menendez kills Hudson and cripples Woods. Unsatisfied with his revenge, Menendez allows Woods and David to live, promising to return to complete his revenge when the time is right. 3 decades later, Menendez re-emerges as the leader of Cordis Die, a massive populist movement with over 2 billion followers. He stages a cyberattack that cripples the Chinese stock exchange. In response, the Chinese ban the export of rare earth elements, fermenting the start of a new Cold War between the Chinese-led Strategic Defense Coalition (SDC) and the US-led NATO. Taking advantage of this standoff, Menendez attempts to bring the two powers to a full-blown war by inciting conflicts between the two, secretly aiding SDC leader Chairman Tian Zhao, who worked with Mason and Woods during their operation in Afghanistan in 1986. Using the intelligence provided by Woods, David, now a Navy SEAL commander code-named Section, leads JSOC forces in the renewed search for Menendez. Shortly after gathering intelligence from Woods, Section and JSOC infiltrates Myanmar investigating a spike in activity in the region. There, Section's team encounters a computer engineer under Menendez's employment, warning them of a cyberattack with a Solarium device, a quantum computer capable of hacking any computer system. Section's team is later deployed in Pakistan, attempting to gather intelligence on Menendez's plots. During the infiltration, Menendez discloses the name of a target, Karma, in the Cayman Islands. Section and SEAL operatives Harper and Salazar later infiltrate the Cayman Islands, finding out that Karma is a woman named Chloe Lynch, a former employee of Menendez's shell corporation, Tacitus. Lynch was the main developer of the Solarium device, and as a means of wrapping up loose ends, Menendez had deployed mercenaries for her abduction, led by his second-in-command, DeFalco. Salazar, Section and Harper either rescue Lynch by killing DeFalco, or he escapes with her. JSOC later has a lead on Menendez in Yemen, where JSOC Asset Farid infiltrates Menendez's cell to help Section facilitate the leader's capture. The player, as Farid, has a choice during the mission. Menendez, suspecting Farid's disloyalty, orders him to shoot the captured Harper. If the player chooses not to shoot Harper, and instead attempts to shoot Menendez, he fails and is executed, but Harper survives and is rescued. If the player chooses to shoot Harper, Farid survives, and Harper is not present in any conversations or missions thereafter. Menendez is successfully captured, but this was a ruse for Menendez to hack into the U.S. military's computer infrastructure on the aircraft carrier the USS Obama, seizing control of the entire U.S. drone fleet. Salazar is revealed to be Menendez's mole within JSOC, and facilitates Menendez's attack. Menendez escapes with Salazar's aid, and when Menendez breaks into the bridge of the Obama, Salazar shoots the soldiers guarding Admiral Briggs. What happens next depends on the fates of Farid, DeFalco and Lynch. Lynch will be absent if she was not rescued. If Farid is alive, he dies either shielding Lynch from Salazar or killing DeFalco, if he is alive by this point. If Farid is dead, Lynch will be killed. The player, playing as Menendez, has the choice of either killing or wounding Admiral Briggs. If the player only wounds Briggs, and the player has completed all of the Strike Force missions, JSOC and SDC enter an alliance, then the player is later informed that the SDC sent hundreds of drones to defend the Obama, and consequently Briggs was able to save the ship and its crew. Menendez escapes the ship while Salazar is caught, and will be executed by Harper if he is still alive. Menendez then uses the drones to stage an attack on Los Angeles during a meeting of G20 leaders, hoping to kill them and cause catastrophic damage to the global economy. Section escorts U.S. President Bosworth to safety amidst the drone attacks. JSOC eventually finds the source of the transmissions responsible for the hacking to Haiti, where Section leads JSOC forces into recapturing the facility in the final mission, and apprehending or killing Menendez. There are different endings depending on the actions the player takes throughout the campaign, such as whether or not the United States and China are able to enter an alliance with each other, as well as determining the fates of certain individuals in the game. During the main campaign, the player may choose to participate in optional strike missions. The strike missions involve JSOC attempting to curb the SDC's global influence by preventing them from forcing neighboring countries into the alliance, with one such mission being to rescue Lynch from DeFalco if he escaped with her in the previous encounter. Section himself does not participate in these missions directly, though he can command the forces remotely from a command center. If the missions are completed successfully, the SDC is weakened enough to ally with JSOC, and assists the player later in the campaign, for example, in sending its own drones to rescue the USS Obama. Ending. The Black Ops 2 storyline has different endings depending on which conditions the player fulfills over the course of the game. There is also a secondary ending regarding Mason's survival in 1989. If Mason survived, he visits Woods in retirement and reunites with Section. If Mason was killed, Section and Woods visit his grave, and Section will declare his retirement from his military career. However, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is most definitely by far a very awesome second chapter so far in the franchise. Stay tuned for more gaming content on the way.